Commercial Photography Course Portfolio Development Podcast. Your portfolio is the single most important asset you will ever have. It is your shop window. It quite simply can make or break your career. You think how quickly you make a homepage decision to engage or not when you're flicking through the internet. It's going to be exactly the same for your website when it's fully out there. So we'll have to make an impression and engage if you're going to stand any chance of survival in an excruciatingly competitive creative world. Now that might sound a bit daunting and a bit scary. Well, don't be afraid. As a creative person, you're about to embark on one of the most important relationships you will have, the one with your portfolio. So firstly, accept, like all good and lasting relationships, it will develop and grow with you as you evolve as an image maker. So be excited by this relationship and embrace it. This is where your visual personality will begin to emerge. But it is important to lay down the strongest foundations you can at this early stage and get your mindset moving in the right direction to support the decisions you make regarding this fundamental tool in your repertoire. Where to start? Research and reflect. Research. Now, why is research so important? For one thing, we as photographers operate in a competitive world that is constantly moving on, both technically and creatively. New styles, new trends. To keep abreast of this constantly changing creative world, we must keep researching and investigating. The idea being that we will integrate and absorb, or more to the point, translate these influences via research into our practice. What kind of research should I be doing? A variety. Obviously, with the internet, research has never been so easy. But be open to other influences as well, in particular exhibitions, installations and the opinions of others. But basically, the internet will be your main source of research and information. Start by searching out influential photographers who inspire you and whose work you find engaging. Head for forums that concentrate in your area of interest and be sensitive to ancillary creative professions like film, fashion, music and art in general. The other important R is reflection, or in this case, to give it its correct title, critical reflection. Let's just define this concept. Critical reflection means regularly identifying and exploring our own thoughts, feelings and experiences, and then making a decision about how they fit in with the ideas, concepts and theories that we are aware of. I have already introduced you to the concept of reflection when we talked about the benefits of starting a reflective journal or blog. Well, now is the time to really get going with this concept. Collect your research, your thoughts, your considered actions, in fact, all your influences and ideas together into your journal. But remember to contextualise your reflections by summarising, so that you can reach some, or at least a vague conclusion to your reflections, allowing you to move on with your ideas. Later on, when you look back at entries in your critical journal, you will probably find a new pattern of thought and consequential ideas will emerge. So in itself, as the journal grows and develops, it will become a source of inspiration that will generate alternative ideas. This is exactly why you run a reflective journal, to generate creative relevance. The reason why you are doing all this research and reflection is to formulate your ideas. Let's all take a breath. Maybe pause the podcast here for a moment and just absorb what we have covered so far. A moment of reflection, critical reflection, because you will now begin to explore your own thoughts and feelings and decide how those ideas will integrate into your image-making practice. Okay, so enough of the highbrow stuff for a minute. In real terms, how are you going to get going with all this research and reflection? Over the coming months, I will introduce you to key publications that will substantially support you in formulating your ideas. The first of which is a book called The Key Concepts Photography by David Bate, an extremely interesting and important publication that, although is about photography, only contains a handful of images, but a lot of words. They do come in bite-sized chunks, tackling all concepts in most genres of photography. So I'm not suggesting you read key concepts from cover to cover, but rather check out the chapter headings and read the ones that grab you to start with. I suspect you will eventually be drawn in and read it all. See how you go. Key concepts will undoubtedly help you to formulate your ideas more precisely. and I do recommend you getting your own copy to keep, because as you grow and develop as an image maker, building a collection of reference points such as key publications, favourite websites and forums is something you should be doing, as you will find yourself relying on these resources throughout the whole of your professional career for inspiration, guidance and sometimes a little reassurance. Okay, so where to go to from here? Next step, after research and reflection, is to write a 500-word creative mission statement. Now, what is a mission statement? Quite simply, it is what I do, how I do it, and most importantly, why I do it. What motivates me, what thrills, excites and engages me, and what will I and the world gain by me taking photographs? You'll be amazed how focused your mind will become when you write your mission statement. Accept that your creative mission statement is likely to change in time, evolve more like, as you become more expert in your practice and your ideas mature and development. Writing a creative mission statement will help you to discover your creative personality and reveal your vision of image making, best described as inspiration. But keep it relatively short, about 500 words. This will help you to focus your mind and concentrate on what really matters. Your greatest ally when tackling the complex subject of your portfolio, your shop window, the insight into your true creative self, is reflection. Take time to consider, consult, discuss, and consider again. Try to engage with the concepts involved with image making in all its guises and chew it over again and again in your mind. This process of analytical consideration, better known as critical reflection, is an essential skill for purposeful creatives to acquire, something again that will serve you throughout your whole career. Grasp this concept with both hands and work with it, as this is a truly valuable mind tool to have that inspirational and imaginative people often rely on to channel their creative energy and endeavours. Down the line, the likelihood is that your portfolio will manifest itself in an online platform, for example, a website. But don't concern yourself with that right now, although I do suggest keeping links to websites that appeal to you style-wise, even if the content is not quite your cup of tea. This will be for the next stage in this process when we look at developing websites by researching suitable online platforms that you can utilise to represent you as a professional image maker. Thanks for listening to this podcast.